all love to play games that are just fantasy and science fiction genres related that provide us with an infinite amount of entertainment. However, even though we love these games with a fountain pool amount of fun, there are some things that these games provide us that aren't necessarily normal, or as you can refer to, quote unquote, not to make too much sense. And these things pretty much defy the laws of both physics and reality. Don't get me wrong, we all love this game, but this is a matter of questioning the unknown for fun. So here we have 10 things that don't make sense in TDS.
Number 10.
Number 10 we have is the lore. Now, don't get me wrong, every single game either has or does not have lore. In this game, it is kind of lore, because there is, I believe, from the Lunar Overture event, something about Princess Girl who turns into Power Ranger Girl. I think they're the same character, I'm pretty sure. I literally don't know. I've just been hearing these things on Reddit and stuff like that. But aside from that, I don't think there's any lore on this game, which, you know, is okay, since not every game needs, or what's it called, deserves lore. However, some lore in games can be kind of interesting, but in this game it kind of doesn't make sense, because from what I can recall from the Lunar Overture event, there was a cube kind of like Fortnite's, and something about how it turned her with powers, I don't know. And then there's just the giant monsters and zombies, and also like the Fallen King, who are attacking us for no particular reason. But aside from that, the lore is not too simple.
Number 9.
Something else that doesn't make sense is the goal or mission to protect this giant hole in the wall. So what exactly does this hole in the wall, why is it exactly valuable to us? Why do we need to protect it? I mean, obviously it's because that's where, like, I quote unquote we came from, because when you're actually placing down a army camp or like a crook boss, that's where your minions come out with vehicles and all sorts of teammates. So I guess that kind of makes sense, or maybe this is just like a tunnel to our secret underground base or something like that. Like, for an example, if you play the Area 51 or 2 map, however you want to call it, there is that like underground thing where it's, you know, it's like a gates to the headquarters of Area 51, which that makes sense. However, in every other map, it's just a giant hole in the wall, and I guess if it gets damaged enough, you lose. I mean, this is obviously just as a, oh, an enemy got through, don't make sure not many more or any stronger ones get through. But at the same time, it's kind of like, what exactly is their purpose to it?
Number 30.
Speaking of the giant hole in the wall that is our goal, how exactly does the medic heal it? Now, if you don't know, the medic is a pretty much support unit that essentially just, removes the stun on any troops that are affected by enemy troops. Like, for an example, the Fallen Guardians or whatever, when they stab a troop, that's essentially what her ability does. However, what is also pretty good and useful is her passive, which essentially just heals the hole in the wall or whatever at the start of every single round. And the question is, how exactly does she heal it? I mean, all her animation does is just swings her hand in the air, it's just like heal or whatever, but how does she heal it? Does she just get like a bunch of hammer and nails and just, I don't know, build some barricades on it? Or does she have some sort of organic gun to be able to heal just rocks? I don't know. How exactly does she heal it?
Number 7.
Something else that is less noticeable is, how exactly does the commander boost the rate of fires of his troops? Well, rate of fire. And the thing is if you don't know, or if you just think about it 1 second, the commander isn't making his troops shoot faster, he's just making the weapons shoot faster. Now, if you don't know, no matter how hard you pull on the gun's trigger or whatever, it will shoot the exact same rate of fire as it was created to do. So how exactly does the commander pretty much make the weapons shoot faster? It doesn't necessarily make sense. I mean, maybe the troops took out some sort of modifier to make their weapons and shoot faster and stuff like that, but if that's the case, then just why don't they have that on for the entire time, you know?
Number 6.
Something else that was pretty noticeable is the DJ. How exactly does the DJ boost the other units' stats? It doesn't necessarily make too much sense. Like, as an example, he decreases their upgrades prices. Okay, and then there's boosting their range distances. How exactly does that work? I mean, maybe it's from the music, it's got some sort of, I don't know, special element or something like that that increases people's visions and stuff like that. Maybe they like the music so much that they're like, you know what, just to celebrate this, we're gonna decrease the prices, because why not?
Number 27.
Something that is quite huge that doesn't make sense is, why don't the zombies just attack the people that are shooting them 1 inch away from their face? It doesn't make too much sense. I mean, the zombies' goal is just to walk on this path, which I'm probably going to put in the future episode, that doesn't make sense, to the goal, but for whatever reason, they don't have another job or mission to pretty much attack the enemies that are just literally blasting their faces and their allies with weapons that are literally a few feet away from them. That does not necessarily make sense at all, because in every other game, any enemies just will attack the people or just attack the things that are, you know, hurting them. So why in this game they don't? I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some units and enemies that actually do attack your troops, but they only stun them, which is weird because, I mean, the Fallen Guardian literally stabs this guy, thrusting a giant spear made out of obsidian or something. How is that physically possible?
Number 4.
This is a worldwide pandemic, and there is literally ginormous monsters controlling armies upon armies of minions who have different abilities and can take up a whole lot of damage. And you're telling me that you are charging me money in order to place down these units and stuff, and I don't know, not reinforcing them on your command? I mean, if this was a worldwide pandemic, there will be pretty much all the countries and armies in the world would pretty much unite together in order to pretty much save the world. And you're telling me that you can't be like, all right, let's get in a tank here, probably a missile there and stuff like that, but instead you're telling me, give me all of your savings in order to pretty much give you a soldier of mine. It doesn't necessarily to make sense, and especially when the enemies continuously get stronger and stronger and you need more money, it's just like, why don't you just give me the most strongest people that are literally in the world, or in the army at least, or like biological nuclear weapons, and instead you're just giving me stuff that I need to pay for. It doesn't really make too much sense when literally you're trying to save the world, but I guess the economy is still super important for whatever reason.
Number 16.
Something else entirely that doesn't make sense is, how exactly do the troops not kill each other? Like, for an example, there is the mortar who can literally launch a missile into the... How exactly do the troops not shoot each other? So when you pretty much place a troop behind another one and there is an enemy in front of both of them, how does the troop not in the back just accidentally kill the soldier right in front of them? I mean, that would seem like a completely game-breaking thing, but then again, they are literally right next to each other, and you're telling me this guy could shoot through another guy in front of him, and somehow he's just perfectly fine from that. Especially from when explosions are happening constantly. How are all of these soldiers still alive from these explosions?
Number 12.
And number 2, we've got the name of the final upgrade for the accelerator. This is called Vessel of Infinite Destruction. And as soon as you would hear that, for people who've never had accelerator before, they would probably be thinking, oh my god, this guy probably just shoots forever or something like that. But he doesn't for some reason. Instead, it overheats and it only does, well, a certain amount of damage every single time, and not like increasing over time or something like that, you know? Kind of like the Inferno Tower in Clash of Clans or something. And you're telling me this is infinite destruction when obviously his weapon stops firing, and the fact that his weapon doesn't necessarily do that much damage. When you hear infinite, you obviously think of, oh, it goes on forever or it never stops. However, this guy obviously does stop. Now, you can make the argument of, calm down, man, it is just the name for epic purposes or something like that. Or what exactly does it necessarily change and really accomplish in the end if it doesn't really go on forever?
Number 1.
Check this out.
Oh my god!
And then finally, number 1, which I believe does not make sense in the least slightest, is why does the accelerator just keep on burning his hand? Now, if you guys don't know, which I'm pretty sure 89% of you guys do know, is that when the accelerator stops firing, either because his weapon overheats, he burns his hand that his hand was resting on the barrel in order to control the velocity and volume of the weapon firing. However, after burning his hand once, he proceeds to place his hand back on the barrel. Like, why would you do that when you literally just saw the aftermath and pretty much conclusion of what would happen when the gun overheats? And not only that, he proceeds to burn his hand again and again and again. It's like, bro, do you not learn from your mistakes? Any normal person would probably get like oven mitts or probably something really durable to contain that type of heat, but instead he just calmly places his hand right back on the barrel of the weapon that is pretty much turning and has the most amount of heat radiating from it, just thinking like it's something normal that everyone does with their left hand, quote unquote. But really, it's just like, after burning your hand once and hurting yourself from that, why would you do it a second time? I don't know. I mean, maybe he just has a fetish for burning his